Most people rank albums from worst to best, but Deep Purple Mark II isn't a list. It's a bit of a journey. It's a story of five men who carved their faces into the side of a mountain in 1970, only to spend the next 25 years watching that stone crumble under the weight of its own legacy. Today we aren't just counting down, we're dropping these albums into place chronologically, from the first hammer strike to the final collapse, to see exactly when the monument became too heavy to carry. This is the Mark II era, all 11 albums ranked. Starting with the Concerto for Group and Orchestra in 1969. We start not with a detour, but with a massive extension of the direction the band had been flirting with since the very beginning. If you listen to April from the 1969 self-titled album, you'll hear John Lord's most fully realized fusion of rock and classical music. The Concerto was the next logical step in that journey. It wasn't a battle between the band and the orchestra. It was about joining genres. It wasn't prog, because it didn't have the neurotic, academic pretense of prog. And while it wasn't hard rock, the sheer scope and freedom of the Concerto encapsulated the exact same spirit that would eventually drive them to do in rock. It ranks at number 7 because it marks the final moment of total, unfocused, creative freedom before they decided to sharpen that power into a single heavy direction. This is the gold standard. This is the monument. No more art rock, just 5 guys in a room exploring what heavy actually meant. And this is why I have it at number 1 over Machine Head. In Rock is exploratory. It's a band discovering what they could be, trying different tempos and textures and styles, and they just weren't narrowed down yet. Speed King is a declaration of war, and Child in Time is 8 minutes of dynamic mastery. Even the track Into the Fire is a solid heavy blues that holds the line. In Rock has a subtlety and scope that you only get once, when a band is defining themselves, not refining themselves. I mean, look at that cover, Mount Rushmore. They weren't just making a record, they were carving their legacy into stone. Fireball is where the monument starts to vibrate. This album is quirky and experimental, doubling down on the exploration they started with in Rock. But then you hit Anyone's Daughter. It's a country pastiche, a donkey of a track that sort of stops the momentum in an otherwise wild record. Still, the highs like Fools and the title track are enough to put it at number 4. Machine Head is the perfect machine. From the opening build of Highway Star to the closing stomp of Space Truckin', it doesn't waste a second. It's more focused and more powerful than anything they had done before. But that's exactly why it's at number 3. That perfection is a little narrow. The band knew exactly what they were by this point, and they executed it flawlessly. But in that focus, they lost some of the unpredictability and the wide-ranging scope of In Rock. I'll take the raw revolution of 1970 over the brutal perfection of 72 every time. This is the sound of the monument at its loudest. It takes the studio blueprints and breathes fire into them, capturing the chemistry at its absolute peak, right before internal friction became terminal. It's the definitive document of the legend, and that's why it sits at number 2. By 1973, the cracks are visible. On the cover, everyone's in their own little bubble, and it's a retreat from the aggressive stone unity of 1970. Place and line sounds exactly like what it was, a band going through the motions, knowing the foundation was crumbling. It ranks at number 5, though, because it still has that exploratory spirit, even if the energy is fading. The 1984 reunion was Blackmore's boldest move of character, walking back to a world he couldn't control. It's a professional reconstruction, but the purple logo on the cover says it all. They're a brand now. It's a great record, but it's rebuilding from memory rather than just diving in with that raw confidence that once drove them. Here's where the gloss sets in. The songs start to feel like mere platforms for guitar runs, like on Spanish Archer. rather than full musical statements. The creative confidence seems to be missing, and the band just doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. The stone is officially weathering. I don't know. The copper turned green on this one? This is the most tragic piece of symbolism in Purple history. The title is honest, and the music tells it all. The old material is played at tempos which diminish the songs, and the new stuff, for the most part, isn't quite as strong. It ranks last because it documents the end of that Mark II magic. Here's one where the title says it all. I mean, look at the cover. This isn't a cohesive band all on the same page anymore, much less the unit once carved in rock. The final collapse. It's marginally better sounding than Nobody's Perfect, but by now the magic of Made in Japan is a distant memory. The monument didn't just crumble, it collapsed under its own weight. And again the tempos, especially on Lazy, greatly diminish the songs. And that arrangement from... Enough of that. So there you go. What do you think? Is In Rock the true peak? Or does the perfection of Machine Head deserve the top spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned. Have a great day.